First contact and subjugation. The skies over Manhattan had never truly regained their natural blue. 3 years after the Volteri Dominion had established their primary Earth outpost, the atmosphere remained tinged with the amber hue of their atmospheric processors. Dr. Ilara Chen gazed up from the window of her laboratory, momentarily distracted from her microscope. The massive Volteri mothership hovered perpetually above the city, a constant reminder of humanity's defeat. Dr. Chen, they're requesting the weekly samples, her assistant, Marcus, said quietly from the doorway. His eyes, like everyone's these days, carried the dull glaze of defeat. Tell them I need another hour, Ilara replied, turning back to her work. These cellular anomalies aren't making any sense. The Volteri had conquered Earth with minimal effort. Their technology had neutralized humanity's military forces within days. Unlike the violent invasions of science fiction, they came not to destroy but to subjugate. Humans became a resource, workers, test subjects, and curiosities for their vast interstellar empire. Ilara's position as head geneticist at what was once Columbia University's research hospital granted her rare privileges. The Volteri were intensely interested in human biology, particularly genetic diversity, which was apparently uncommon among spacefaring species. But what she had discovered in recent weeks wasn't in any report she'd submitted to her alien overseers. The human samples she'd been secretly studying showed inexplicable mutations at the cellular level. Nothing dangerous. At least not yet, but definitely not normal. The changes appeared to be accelerating, spreading through the population like a silent wave. Dr. Chen. The voice from behind her was unmistakable. The metallic resonance of the Volteri vocalization unit. Captain Krev, her designated supervisor, stood in the doorway. His iridescent exoskeleton caught the artificial light, casting prismatic patterns across the lab walls. The samples, Captain, Ilara said, straightening. I was just finalizing my analysis. Krev's 4 primary eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture she'd learned indicated skepticism. Unlike most Volteri officers, Krev demonstrated something resembling respect for humans, perhaps even curiosity that went beyond scientific interest. The Archon is growing impatient with these delays, Doctor. The genetic markers we seek are crucial to the Dominion's research. Of course, Ilara nodded, sliding a tray of prepared samples toward him. These were the official ones, carefully curated to reveal nothing of what she'd discovered. These should provide exactly what the Archon needs. After Krev departed, Ilara locked the laboratory door and retrieved her hidden data cache. The mutations were becoming more pronounced. In some samples, entirely new protein structures had formed, ones that shouldn't be possible according to established human genetics. What are you becoming? She whispered to the cellular images on her screen. The first public manifestation occurred 3 weeks later. A construction worker in one of the Volteri mining operations survived a catastrophic equipment failure that should have crushed him. Instead, witnesses reported his skin taking on a momentary metallic quality before he emerged unscathed. The Volteri response was immediate. The worker disappeared, presumably to one of their orbital research facilities, but it was only the beginning. In Chicago, a woman demonstrated unexplained telekinetic abilities during a food riot. In Rio de Janeiro, a teenager outran a Volteri patrol drone. On foot, each incident was quickly contained, information suppressed, but Ilara's underground network of fellow scientists provided her with the truth. They're evolving, she told Marcus as they examined new data in the secret basement lab they'd established beneath the ruins of an old subway station. Something about the Volteri presence, perhaps their technology, their atmospheric alterations, or even some unintentional biohazard they brought, is triggering adaptive mutations in human DNA. Is it happening to everyone? Marcus asked, his face illuminated by the soft glow of their salvaged equipment. No, but the pattern is spreading exponentially. I estimate that within 6 months, at least 30% of the global population will demonstrate some form of enhancement. The implications were staggering. Humanity, on the brink of becoming a permanent underclass to alien masters, was transforming into something new. When Ilara returned to her official laboratory the next morning, she found Captain Krev waiting with a contingent of Volteri guards. "The Archon wishes to speak with you personally, Dr. Chen," Krev announced, his usual measured tone replaced with unmistakable tension. The Archon, regional commander of Earth operations, rarely interacted directly with humans. Ilara knew immediately that her secret research had been discovered. The Volteri headquarters occupied what had once been the United Nations complex. As Ilara was escorted through its transformed hallways, she noted the increased security presence. Something had the aliens on edge. The Archon's chamber was a vast dome of shifting light patterns and humming technology. The commander itself floated in a suspension field at the center, larger than ordinary Volteri, with an exoskeleton that gleamed with embedded technology. "Dr. Chen," the Archon's voice resonated through the chamber. "We have detected concerning anomalies in Earth's population. Our analysis suggests you have been aware of these changes." Ilara maintained her composure. "I've observed some unusual patterns in recent samples, yes. I was compiling comprehensive data before reporting." "Deception," the Archon hissed, the light patterns around it flaring red. "We have monitored your unauthorized research. You understand the significance of these mutations." "I understand that humanity is adapting," Ilara replied, abandoning pretense. "It's what living organisms do." "These are not mere adaptations," the Archon said. "The quantum signatures in the altered human DNA match ancient patterns our scientists have only theorized about. If our projections are correct, your species is undergoing a transformation that could destabilize this entire sector of space." The revelation stunned Ilara. The Volteri weren't just concerned. They were afraid. Before she could respond, alarms blared throughout the complex. A Volteri officer rushed in, his exoskeleton pulsing with urgent communication patterns. "Multiple incidents reported across the administrative zone," the officer reported. "Humans demonstrating Class IV abilities. Security containment failing." The Archon's suspension field flared brightly. "Initiate protocol sundering. All human populations to be segregated and processed immediately." Ilara knew what processed meant. Extermination had always been the Dominion's fallback when control was threatened. In the chaos that followed, Captain Krev approached her while the Archon was distracted. "You must leave now," he said quietly. "There are others like you who have formed a resistance. Find them." He pressed a small device into her hand. "This will mask your biosignature from our scanners." "Why are you helping me?" Ilara asked, stunned by this unexpected alliance. "Because there are some in the Dominion who question our right to subjugate developing species," Krev replied. "And because what is happening to humans is extraordinary. It deserves to be understood, not extinguished." Ilara escaped the complex during the mounting crisis. Throughout the city, incidents of human enhancement were triggering panic among both populations. Some humans were manifesting physical changes: increased strength, accelerated healing, sensory enhancement. Others demonstrated more dramatic abilities, influencing electronic systems, manipulating energy, even limited matter transformation. Using Krebs' device, Ilara made her way to the underground network of resistance fighters she'd only heard rumors about. Their base, hidden deep in the abandoned subway tunnels, became her new laboratory. There she met others who had developed abilities. Jamie, who could interface directly with electronic systems. Soren, whose strength and resilience had saved dozens during a Volteri crackdown. And Alina, whose precognitive flashes had helped the Resistance stay one step ahead of Dominion patrols. "We've been watching the spread of these changes for months," explained Gabriel, the Resistance leader. "At first, we thought it was just random mutations, but it's too widespread, too systematic." "It's not random," Ilara confirmed, showing them her research. "Something about the Volteri presence has triggered dormant genetic potential in our DNA. Potential that shouldn't be possible based on our evolutionary history." "Are you saying we were designed to do this?" Alina asked. I'm saying human DNA contains sequences that may have been planted there millennia ago, Ilara replied. Sequences now activating in response to the Volteri. As more humans developed abilities, the resistance grew stronger. What began as isolated incidents became coordinated resistance. The Volteri found their technology hijacked, their communications disrupted, their patrols ambushed by humans who could now match their physical capabilities. Captain Krev continued to feed information to Ilara, revealing that the Dominion was bringing in reinforcements. The Volteri Supreme Commander himself was en route to Earth, with a fleet carrying weapons designed to eradicate all life on the planet. They're willing to destroy an entire world rather than lose control, Gabriel said grimly when Ilara shared the news. Then we need to strike first, Ilara replied. And I know exactly where to hit them. The uprising had begun, and humanity's future hung in the balance. Revolution and new dawn. Dawn broke over a changed New York City. The Volteri atmospheric processors had been disabled during the night, allowing natural sunlight to filter through real clouds for the first time in years. From her vantage point atop the ruins of the old Empire State Building, Ilara watched as small teams of enhanced humans moved through the streets below, engaging Volteri patrols with newfound confidence. 3 months had passed since her escape from the Dominion headquarters, and the resistance had evolved from a hidden movement into an open rebellion. What the Volteri had feared was coming to pass. Humanity was transforming, and the balance of power was shifting. Sierra team has secured the Brooklyn Processing Center, Jamie reported, his eyes glowing faintly as he interfaced directly with their communication network. 2,300 civilians freed, minimal casualties. Ilara nodded. And the Volteri response? Fragmented. They're still recovering from the coordinated EMP strikes. Their command structure is in disarray. Similar reports were coming in from resistance cells worldwide. Paris, Lagos, Mumbai, Sydney, all reporting successful operations against Dominion strongholds. The enhanced humans, now calling themselves the Awakened, were proving difficult for the Volteri to counter. Each manifestation of ability seemed specifically adapted to combat Volteri technology and biology. Soren landed heavily on the observation platform, having leaped up 30 floors from the street below. His skin showed the fading metallic sheen that accompanied his strength enhancements. Dominion dropships inbound, he reported, breathing normally despite his exertion. Big ones. Military class. The Supreme Commander has arrived, Ilara said grimly. The intelligence Krev had provided suggested the Volteri leadership would resort to planetary sterilization rather than lose Earth. They had one chance to prevent it. Gabriel assembled the core resistance team in their new headquarters, the reclaimed lower levels of the Volteri administrative complex. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. The Supreme Commander's vessel carries a quantum destabilizer, Ilara explained, displaying the schematics Krev had provided. It's designed to unravel molecular bonds across an entire planetary surface. Once activated, nothing will survive. Can we disable it? Elena asked, her eyes momentarily unfocused. Another precognitive episode coming on. Not from outside. We need to infiltrate the command ship itself, Ilara replied. And I need to reach their central database. There's something about these mutations that the Volteri aren't telling us. Something they fear more than just losing control of Earth. Gabriel's team had formulated a daring plan. Using Jamie's ability to interface with Volteri systems, they had reprogrammed several transport shuttles. Soren and other strength-enhanced humans would provide the assault force, while Elena's precognition would guide them through the Volteri defenses. As they prepared to depart, Captain Krev arrived, no longer wearing Dominion insignia. The Supreme Commander has ordered the execution of all Volteri who have shown sympathy toward humans, he explained. Many of us have defected. We believe what is happening here represents something significant for all sentient life. With Krev's help, the human strike team infiltrated the massive Volteri command ship, now hovering above what had once been Central Park. While Soren led the assault team to disable the quantum destabilizer, Ilara, accompanied by Jamie and Krev, made her way to the central database chamber. "The information we seek is in the ancestral archives," Krev explained as they moved through the ship's luminescent corridors. "Records even most Valteri are not permitted to access." Inside the vast database chamber, Jamie connected directly to the alien systems, his enhanced abilities allowing him to bypass security protocols that would have taken years to crack otherwise. "I'm in," he whispered, his eyes now glowing with the same prismatic patterns that characterized Valteri technology. "There's so much. Histories of thousands of worlds, species long extinct. Focus on Earth," Ilara urged. "Search for genetic intervention protocols." What they discovered shook them to their core. Earth had not been randomly selected for conquest. The Valteri Dominion had been monitoring the planet for millennia. According to these records, Jamie reported, his voice distant as he processed the information, human DNA was modified approximately 50,000 years ago by, not the Valteri, but something they call the predecessors. The predecessors seeded responsive genetic sequences in promising species throughout the galaxy, Krev explained, his voice reverent. Sequences designed to activate when exposed to advanced technology of sufficient complexity. They engineered an evolutionary response, Ilara realized. Insurance against conquest and extinction. "This has happened before," Jamie continued, still connected to the database. "Other worlds, other species. The Valteri conquered them, and the same genetic response was triggered. The Supreme Commander has overseen the extinction of 3 such species already." The revelation was simultaneously horrifying and awe-inspiring. Humanity's current transformation wasn't random mutation, but the activation of carefully designed genetic potential, a failsafe against exactly the kind of subjugation the Valteri had imposed. Their discovery was interrupted by the ship's alarm systems. Soren's team had been detected. "We need to move," Krev urged. "The destabilizer must still be disabled." As they fought their way toward the weapon control center, Ilara witnessed the full extent of humanity's transformation. Enhanced humans battled Valteri soldiers throughout the ship, each demonstrating abilities that seemed perfectly adapted to combat their oppressors. Some could disrupt the Valteri energy weapons with a gesture. Others moved with impossible speed, outmaneuvering the aliens in their own environment. They reached the central control chamber just as Soren's team was being overwhelmed. The Supreme Commander itself stood before the quantum destabilizer controls, a towering figure with an exoskeleton that shimmered with integrated technology far beyond even ordinary Valteri. "This world will not become another predecessor resurgence," the Supreme Commander announced, its voice reverberating through the chamber. "The cycle ends here." Ilara stepped forward. "We know about the predecessors. We know what's happening to us was planned millennia ago. Then you understand why you cannot be allowed to complete the transformation," the Supreme Commander replied. "The predecessors' meddling threatens the natural order of evolution. They would turn lesser species into weapons against us." "Not weapons," Ilara countered. "Equals." They created a balance, insurance that no single species could dominate the galaxy forever. The confrontation escalated as more enhanced humans joined the battle. The Supreme Commander activated personal shields that repelled their attacks, its advanced weaponry cutting down several resistance fighters. In the chaos, Ilara noticed a pattern. Each time the enhanced humans were injured or threatened, their abilities seemed to adapt further, becoming more specifically tailored to counter the threat. The predecessor programming wasn't just awakening dormant potential. It was actively responding to immediate challenges. "Jamie," she called out, "connect to the ship's environmental systems. Maximum energy output." Understanding her plan, Jamie interfaced with the ship's controls. The chamber suddenly flooded with various forms of energy. Radiation, electromagnetic pulses, thermal extremes. The effect on the enhanced humans was immediate and dramatic. Their abilities surged, accelerating the adaptation process that had been gradually occurring over months. Soren's strength increased tenfold. Alina's precognition expanded from seconds to minutes. Others manifested entirely new capabilities in response to the energy flood. Overwhelmed by the rapidly evolving threat, the Supreme Commander made a final desperate attempt to activate the destabilizer. But the enhanced humans, now functioning as a coordinated unit, neutralized the threat. Jamie disabled the weapon systems, while Soren and others physically contained the Supreme Commander. Your evolution was never meant to proceed this rapidly, the defeated Supreme Commander said as Ilara approached. The predecessors designed a gradual awakening, not this explosion of potential. Perhaps they understood something you don't, Ilara replied. That true evolution isn't just about power, but adaptability. Humanity adapted to your presence, your technology, your threat. In the days that followed, the Volteri Dominion forces on Earth surrendered. Those who had defected, like Krev, sought asylum among humans, offering their knowledge and technology in exchange for peace. The transformation of humanity continued, though at a more measured pace now that the immediate threat had passed. Not everyone developed dramatic abilities, but subtle enhancements spread through the global population, increased intelligence, longevity, resistance to disease. 6 months after the defeat of the Supreme Commander, Earth's new governing council, a mixture of enhanced and conventional humans, convened in the repurposed Volteri headquarters. We've received responses from 17 different alien civilizations, Gabriel reported. Most express interest in diplomatic relations with Earth. A few have requested our help. Apparently, the Volteri Dominion has been busy throughout this sector of the galaxy. And the predecessors? Ilara asked. Any sign of them? Nothing conclusive, Jamie replied. According to the data we've decoded, they vanished millions of years ago. Some records suggest they transcended physical form entirely. Ilara gazed out at the recovering city. The last of the Volteri atmospheric processors had been converted to restore Earth's environment rather than alter it. Humanity was healing, growing, becoming something new yet fundamentally still human. Perhaps that was their goal all along, she mused, not to create weapons against the Volteri, but to ensure that intelligent life throughout the galaxy would eventually reach its full potential, to create inheritors worthy of their legacy. Captain Krev, now Earth's first alien ambassador, joined her at the window. The Dominion always feared the predecessor protocols because they saw them as a threat. They'd never considered they might be an invitation, a pathway to something greater than conquest. As night fell over the city, lights twinkled from windows and streets. Human civilization rebuilding, but different now. Enhanced humans worked alongside conventional ones, using their abilities to heal the damage done during the occupation. The first human ships, incorporating repurposed Volteri technology, were being prepared for voyages to nearby star systems. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. What do you think we'll find out there? Ilara asked, looking up at the stars now visible through the clearing atmosphere. Other worlds like ours, perhaps, Krev replied. Other species at various stages of awakening. The predecessors seem to have been very thorough in their planning. And beyond that, perhaps the predecessors themselves, Krev said thoughtfully, or whatever they became. Ilara smiled. The universe had suddenly become much larger, much more complex, and infinitely more interesting. Humanity had not only survived its first contact with an advanced alien civilization, it had transformed itself in response, emerging stronger and more capable than before. The echoes of Terra would soon spread across the stars, not as conquerors, but as awakened children of the predecessors, taking their first steps into a larger community of sentient life. Whatever challenges awaited them in the vast darkness between stars, humanity would face them not just with technology, but with the adaptive potential woven into their very DNA. A gift from ancient benefactors who had seen their potential long before humans themselves could imagine it.